Alright, recently I asked on Instagram if people wanted a After Effects tutorial of some kind, and it turns out there's a lot of different tutorials people want, but hold on, let me just readjust my chair, don't mind this. Okay, as I was saying, today's video is going to be an After Effects tutorial. Now, the specific tutorial we're going to be doing is a very broad sweep of the program because I think I know a lot of people who are just starting with this program and they get really scared when they first look at it. So, first things first, we need to get some footage in here and we need to make a composition. So, a composition is basically the program's settings. So if you click on new composition right here, it would say custom. This is about what we want. I always have it at 60, which it automatically inputs it to 59.94. If you're putting it at 60, you could do 1920 x 1920 or 1080 by 1080. Yeah, so we're gonna click OK. And then this is where our footage would appear if we had any, but we don't, so we need to import some. So to do that, you need to come over here to top left corner, under File, click on it, go to Import, below Revert, and then click on File, and then you should have a box pop up that will show you, it'll let you choose, like it'll let you find the location of your footage and you can import it. So I will import mine. Alrighty, there we go. So then it will be sitting over here, and I just call this I just call it the file project station because that's basically what it is. It has all the files here for the project, and what you can do is click on the file for the footage, and you can drag and drop it onto the timeline. Now the timeline is this big, very big, long this whole area down here is the timeline. I call this the timeline cursor. It's called the time indicator, I believe. Yes, I'll call it the time indicator, I guess, right now. Yeah, so this is the time indicator. What you're going to do is you're going to use this and pull it around to get where you want to on your clips. So to render this, you would press 0 on your keyboard, or you could come up to here and go to composition, preview, play current preview, and then it will play everything that is happening on your screen. Alright, another couple more things about the layout over here. So this is the layer number, and it counts it, I believe from the top it's the lowest number, and then as you go down, that is considered, the numbers will change on the layers, I guess. So what happens is, over here we have the motion blur, we have the pixel motion, or sorry, frame blending, and I will show you how to do that in today's video as well. Alright, okay, some more layout stuff, I guess. Up here we have a bunch of different tools. Just so you know, this one is for like making a rectangle or a circle. This one is used for cutting something out. So like you could, I guess I did it wrong. That one will just make a shape, but what you could do is you could click on this, and there you go, it's all cut out. But we're not going to be doing that in today's video. Okay, and then over here, oh boy, we have the effects and presets, and then text, I believe. Yeah, character and paragraph are also down here. Oh great, okay, there. So there we are. Getting started on the actual editing, we're gonna come drag our time indicator to a spot where we would like to split our clip. So the way I'm doing it right now is I put all my clips together and my music in a separate video, and then I drag that video where everything's put together in here, so that way I don't have to look and sift through all of my footage clips on here, just because I find it to be kind of complicated. If you would like me to explain how I do that in another video, I can do that as well. So in order to flip the, in order to split the clip, what you're going to want to do is get your time indicator exactly where you want it, click on the layer of the clip that you would like to split, and then you would press Ctrl, Shift, and D at the same time, and there you go. You went from having one layer to 2 layers. So, once you've done that, you should be in good shape to do some editing. And then right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to speed up the video, but I'm going to show me cutting all of the parts of the video that I would like to cut. Getting started now with the actual editing, what you're going to want to do is, so for a transition, for the most basic ones, everybody uses this thing called motion tile. So to get motion tile on your clip, or any effect really, you're going to come over here into effects and presets, and you're going to type in the little search bar, motion tile. I'm so sorry if you hear any background noise, that is my father, please forgive me. So over here, we have the output width, the output height, and this thing called mirror edges. These are the 3 things that are going to matter. So don't do this, I'm just going to show you so you can see what it does. So you'll have your clip, and zoom out a little bit. You can do that by clicking on the drop down arrow, which is right next to this little blue square. Click on that, and then click on transform, and then you should be able to see the scale, and just drag it out a little bit so you can see the black around it. Okay, so then what you're going to want to do is come over here to output width and output height. You're going to want to drag these out. I usually put mine at about 5. I usually put mine out at about 500 for both of them, and that is what makes it look like it's repeating on the edges, so that way you don't have any of that empty space when you zoom out. And then you can choose to either mirror the edges or leave it as like these tiles. I choose mirror edges usually just because I feel like it makes it look smoother, and if it's supposed to be a very smooth style edit, I feel like I would prefer it on this over the other one. So what you're gonna do now is you can reset your scale back to 0, and let's show you how to make a transition. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to do a scale, slide, and spin transition in this video. Getting started on these, so you're going to come over here, if you haven't already, make sure you've selected the clip, come over here, open down the drop down arrow, go under transform, and then click on scale, and you want to click this little stopwatch next to the scale option. And if you're not already at 100%, like you want to start the transition at 100%, you can right click on scale and click reset, and that way it'll make sure you're at 100% when you start. I'll zoom in a bit. To zoom in on the timeline, like if you want to see more the specific frames closer up, you can use this down here, and it'll help you get closer to what you want to see. So as you can see right here, this right here is a keyframe, and this is going to indicate where your animations for your transitions end and where they start. So what you're going to want to do is drag this out all the way to the end, and you'll notice this is the start of the next clip, so I won't be able to see it, but if I want to see it, what I can do is I can just pull it over one, and then make sure this little stopwatch is ticked in blue and that you already have a keyframe down here with 100% as its value. And then what you can do is you can just drag it to the right and it will zoom in. And then what you're going to want to do is drag your cursor over both of these, right click on them, right click on the blue dot, either or, keyframe assistant, easy ease, or F9 on the keyboard if you would prefer that. Next thing you're going to do is click on one of these little hourglasses that it made, and you're going to be able to click on this thing called the graph editor. It's right next to these little settings right here on the timeline's editing box, and you're going to want to use these handles right here to make the edit smooth. So to do that, what I always do is I make the clip look like it's going really fast, closer to where it ends, and I make it really long and drawn out leading into it. So if this helps, at the beginning of the clip it should be, sorry, if you're going from the middle of the clip to the end, then this middle keyframe should be the one that's long and drawn out, and this top one right here should be the one that is going to be zooming in, and if I'll show you in a second how it looks when it's going the other way. So yeah, there we go. We have our first transition, but you may notice it doesn't quite look right. Make sure if you dragged it out a little bit over here, if you left it over here, that you drag it over one, so that way it looks really smooth. So if you press 0, you'll be able to preview it. I need to, hold on. And sometimes the preview, it'll go on for the whole video. So if you want to make it reduce the time that you're previewing, or you only want a specific part to be shown, what you can do is you can use these little things right here, and they will stop the preview from going out of bounds. And just make sure you adjust them later when you want to preview the whole video again. So like I said, press 0, and you can see we're starting to zoom in, but this clip still doesn't have its transition. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this clip now, and you can close the little drop down box on this one. That way it will, you don't have it in the way and you don't get confused. So let's go to the next clip. So the clip that you split it with should be, it'll be this one that's most likely on top of it a little bit, like this, or maybe you have it down. Regardless, you're just going to go on to the next clip that you split directly after it. And then what you're going to want to do is go back to motion tile up here. If you didn't close it, then it should still be up here. If you did close it, you can just open up the effects and presets again and get it, and just drag it down onto the layer of the clip that you're going to be looking at. So remember, you want to keep it about the same as the last clip. That way, you want to keep the output width and the output height about the same, and mirror edges if you wanted it to be mirrored. And then what you're going to want to do is at the very beginning of the clip, you're going to want to make sure that you are at the very, very beginning. So we are. And then use your little drop down arrow again over here, and then go under transform, click on scale, and then you should have, and you'll have another keyframe. Now the thing is, you want it to be at 100, but not at the beginning of the transition. You want it to start as a zoom out. So what you're going to do is at the very beginning, you're just going to want to zoom it out, and it's going to look a little bit funny, but don't worry, you'll hardly see this, and it'll make the transition look really smooth later on. And then you're going to want to drag your time indicator down, and you can, once you're at a place where you would like the transition to end, I recommend trying to end the transitions in the middle. That way they you know, they only last for a reasonable amount of time. Right click on scale again and click reset, and there you go, you're back at the beginning, and it's zooming. It's not smooth yet, so again, what you're going to do is you're going to drag over these two, right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease, and then you can click on your little hourglass, go to the line graph editor, and edit the graph. So as you can see, it looks pretty smooth, and because this clip begins, like I said, you want it to be more vertical where the transition is getting really drastic, and you want it to be horizontal as it's coming in so it looks smooth, if that makes sense. And then if we preview it, there we go. So we have a basic zoom transition down. It looks good, but it doesn't really look amazing. Something isn't quite right, and that is most likely going to be motion blur, which to add motion blur, what you do is you come over here. The two clips that'll say effects on them, those are the two that you're going to want to select this, but there will be 4 boxes, and the second one to the right is going to be, starting from the left, is going to be this one. It looks like a little, just a bunch of little circles layered on top of each other, and you're going to want to select this for both of them. And you've probably already noticed it looks a little different now. You're going to press 0 on your keyboard again, or go up here to composition, preview, click play current preview, and it will render it. And there you go, that's how you make a scale transition. The next transition I'm going to be showing you is going to be a spin transition. So to do this, you're going to want to go under your little drop down arrow again. You're going to want to click on rotation. Now, if you're only here for the spin transition, do not worry about this. This is just a previous transition we made. You don't need to worry about the scale. So come over here to rotation, click on the stopwatch right here, and then here is your keyframe. You're going to want to drag your time indicator out to the very end of the clip. Again, if it shows up as another clip, don't worry, this is just the next clip in the part of the transition. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to change this plus 0.0, not this 0x, don't click on that, but you're going to want to click on this one, the second 0, and you're going to want to change it to about, you can change it to whatever you want, but personally I always do mine at about 140. And then you're going to, it's looking good, okay. And then what you're going to want to do is highlight both of these by dragging with your cursor, and then right click on one, keyframe assistant, easy ease, and then you can go into your graph editor. Just like the scale transition from earlier, you're going to want to drag these little handles here, and you're going to want to make it look smooth. It always is going to look like a curve. You will know it's smooth if it curves. If you by accident get the directions wrong, by that I mean, because leading into it, you want it to be smooth, and whatever one is the leading one is the one you're going to want to be horizontal. That's what will happen if it's wrong. So if for some reason your clip is doing this, that just means you had it set the wrong way. So just flip them, so the one that's going in fast is the one that's horizontal, and the other one is vertical. So there, we're getting started on it. And then what you're going to want to do is come over to your next clip, and I haven't set motion tile on this one. If you haven't set motion tile on yours either, you can do that here. Okay, and then what you're going to want to do is click on the little drop down arrow again, transform, rotation, and you're going to want to type in a negative 140, or a negative of whatever the value was that you initially put in. That way it'll look like it's spinning from the same direction. And then you're going to want to come to the middle here and right click on press reset, and you can just select them both again, right click on the keyframe, keyframe assistant, easy ease, and then edit your graph again. Alright, there we go. And again, remember to put on motion blur if you wanted it. And then you can press 0 on your keyboard, or you can there you go. And if you're pressing 0 on the keyboard and it's not previewing, it's actually 0 on the number pad, which is my bad for not mentioning it sooner. So the next transition is going to be a slide transition. This is the last transition I'll show you, but in this I will also show you how to make a video slow. So first things first, I'll show you how to make it slow motion without using Twixtor. This is how I always do my slow motion. I don't use Twixtor hardly at all, and it works really well. So once you have your clip all set up, what you're going to want to do is right click on the layer for the clip that you want to make slow motion, go to time stretch, and then put it at about whatever you want. I'm going to put it at 400 just because I want to make some really nice slow motion. And then what you're going to want to do from there is right click on it again, go to frame blending underneath, and then click on pixel motion. So as you can see, it looks kind of wonky here. So to fix that, if you're having that issue, is you just drag it out one keyframe, and then Ctrl Shift D, and then you can just delete this. And you can delete it by pressing delete on your keyboard or backspace. And then just drag this over, pull it over one, and there you go. Now let's show you what it looks like. See, that's some pretty good slow motion, I think, in my opinion. So we're going to keep that. And then let's start with our slide transition. Alrighty, so to do a slide transition, you're going to want to go under position, and you're going to want to right click on position and click separate dimensions. This will separate the X and Y, and otherwise it's pretty difficult to make the transition when both of them are there, or at least in my opinion it kind of is, so I just always separate them. You can do an X or a Y slide. X is the one that'll make it horizontal, Y will make it vertical, so like up and down, left and right. So choose which one you want to do. I'm just going to do a left and right one. So to do it again, just like all of our other transitions, you start by clicking on the little stopwatch, and you're going to drag it over here, and you're going to want to, I'll just pull it over here. So put your keyframe like one before so you don't see the next clip, and you can pull this to decide how far you want it to go. I usually just pull it out so it's like sitting above the next one over, if that makes sense. But yeah, just pull it out quite a bit so it looks like it's moving over fully, and then you can drag the keyframe out again so it's underneath. And then what you do is once again you click, drag, make this little box over the two. Once they're both selected, right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease, and then you can go back into here, and there you go. It looks like the beginning of a slide. And then to finish it, what you're going to have to do is go in the opposite direction when you start it. So to do that, once again, make sure that your dimensions are separate. Click on whatever one you used, which was in my case the X position, and you can just, remember to put your motion tile over it again if you haven't, or else it'll look like you're floating in the void. And then you can drag your X position back about the same amount over. So because I only had it over like one reflection, I'm going to pull it over so it's only one reflection over. And then you click on your stopwatch again, bring your time indicator to wherever you want the transition to end, right click on X position, reset, and select them both, keyframe assistant, easy ease, and then you can, do that. And there you have it. You should have a nice transition. Remember to put on your motion blur again if you haven't. And then when we preview it, there you go. Alrighty. So I'll just show you what the whole thing looks like. There we have it. So that is the completed 3 transition layout and basic effect tutorial. In future videos, if people like these, I can show you how to do even more things. I use a lot of different transitions. Something I would suggest if you're feeling confident is you can combine 2 transitions. Like for example, you can make it rotate, and you can make it rotate, like you can make it zoom in as it rotates, and you can have it like go from an out zoom in, if that makes sense. But you can combine stuff and it'll make it look a whole lot more interesting. So yeah, that is the full tutorial. If there's anything specific you'd like me to show you how to do in future videos, I will gladly do it. This video took forever to make, so I'm gonna go cut and edit it now. Yeah, I hope you learned something. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will see you guys in the next video.